It's Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for being here this evening on Snow Bros. What Matt and I are watching. I want to show you the winds on this. And this system, it is of high concern because it is really going to be strengthening along the coast. But some of us on the flip side could see nothing at all, keeping it in good perspective. But because it is going to get so strong, where it snows, it is really going to come down, but it's going to be really a fine line. So it will be a strengthening system, and then we'll see that very fine line. So I want to zoom down with the winds that I just showed you and zoom down with what we're seeing on both the American and the European model, but we're not just looking at the models. I was just speaking with Matt, and behind the scenes, he's starting to fine-tune some of the models, and we tweak them. We change some of what's happening in them based on what we're seeing in the environment, and that's what we'll be doing going forward. First thing is first, getting a handle on where this center actually develops, and we'll talk more about that as we go ahead. So looking at this, by the time we get into Sunday morning, there it is, this spin here. Big difference if it's over here, if it's a little bit more over here. Where it develops is key to all of that. We're not waiting until Sunday to know that. We'll have a good handle on that really as we work our way into tomorrow. But these winds, this strong onshore flow, northern and central Outer Banks, watching over toward Aduc, Corolla, over toward Kitty Hawk. We're going to have those winds, that red shading you're seeing there. Gusts. These are gusts to about 70 miles per hour potential. More of this offshore flow, but still a high beach erosion event. The Chesapeake, Delaware Bay, watching even the Long Island Sound and the Cape Cod Bay. This is midday on Sunday, and then the center of this works off. But the Cape Cod Bay, the winds are going to be coming out of the north, right? That's going to pile up some of the water, watching over toward the canal, watching over towards Sandwich, for example, for that potential of flooding. And then this will start to work its way near the south coast of Maine, keeping an eye on New Hampshire, and then eventually Nova Scotia, back toward Newfoundland, and it could pass right over the Avalon Peninsula once we work our way through later in the day on Monday, also covering the Atlantic region of Canada right here. So with that said, we need some of the cold air in place to cause some of the snow, and we're going to see that. This is why we're going to see another southern snow, even in Georgia, the possibility of some snow. That cold air is really going to plunge down Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Here's Sunday morning, back into central Florida, South Florida. Some of these temperatures down in the 20s and 30s. In fact, most of them will be. Wind chills could be around 10, maybe a little bit lower than that, panhandle of Florida. So that cold air in place, as this system develops right over there, that is going to mean we're going to have some snow for the Carolinas, both north and South Carolina as we go forward. So let me show you how this develops, then we'll zoom down, and you can see what's happening here, pulling in moisture from the Gulf and the Atlantic. So that's in play. We've been watching a little area near Texas, and then a little clipper system diving across. That's kind of the energy, helping to pull in some of the moisture. So this will orient itself to become a nor'easter. Classic setup with that. And then you see it lifting up the coast, but that cold air is really cold. So with that, we're going to start to see some of the snow, and we'll zoom down in just a moment. Could even have some snow flurries if things break right or wrong, depending on how you look at it. Saturday night, Sunday morning, if there's a little leftover moisture, even some kind of Gulf effect snow possible over toward Tampa, St. Pete's. But watching where the center of this develops will be a very key. Again, a little bit more offshore, a little bit more north-south, all of that makes a big difference. And I'll show you why it makes such a big difference in a second when we talk about the snow and the no snow line. But here's the center of it as a whole with the American model. And for the most part, the American and European models don't have huge differences at this point, but we'll have that sharp divide. But I do want to show you this system just as a whole. This is Sunday afternoon. It is definitely going to give us some snow in the Carolinas, looks like over toward the Cape, and then the Atlantic region to Canada. Other spots, still kind of a wait and see as we go forward, and that's what I want to talk about right here and show it to you. So we're zoomed down here. Here's Atlanta. Looks like could get some snow flurries, maybe some snow showers. Kentucky, Tennessee, watching West Virginia. But as we work our way through the day on Saturday, cold air in place. So really Richmond south. This could be a heavier snow as we swing right back through here, swinging all the way through I-95 in North Carolina in particular, but Columbia, Florence, we could get some of that snow as well, but a heavier snow, Greenville, and then lifting back toward Duck up through Virginia Beach, Norfolk, heavier snow right in through here, and even looking at Salisbury South. Delaware, we're just simply going to be on the edge of it. That's a spot I'm not sure yet. Delaware and New Jersey could end up half and half. You see right here, this is the snow right off of AC, but again, really a couple miles at this point could make a big difference because, again, it's a really heavy band. It's not like it's just if we get caught in the snow, it's some snow showers an inch or two. If we are caught in it, we're talking about 6, 8, and 10 inches of snow will be a possibility, but more and more it looks like at least the Cape and the islands getting that snow. Providence, Cumberland, Newport, New Bedford, Fall River, back through Boston, watching out for some of that snow that will be a potential as we work our way into Sunday. New Jersey, like Long Island, may be half and half. That's a wait and see, a question mark. In Hartford, we're just going to be on the edge of this. We'll be able to fine tune it. That's what Matt and I will be doing. But again, Carolinas, parts of southern Virginia, seeing that snow in at least Cape Cod and the islands, and then Nova Scotia back toward Newfoundland, a good bet as we work our way into Sunday night into Monday for getting that snow. But such a fine line of where it's going to set up. And that's why I'm showing you some of the models, but letting you know, of course, the uncertainty, which you know. You're weather savvy, you follow this. Now here's the American model, the GFS, not necessarily a model we always lean on, but I just want to show you some of the differences, and I no problem showing that because again, this is where I believe we are going to see some snow, but the American model does show significant snow amounts. Not that this is right or wrong at this point. It is showing upwards of a foot, maybe pushing a foot, and maybe about 16, 17 inches of snow back through parts of North Carolina, as I was highlighting earlier, and then keeping a very close eye on southern Virginia. And then you could see New Jersey, though, a miss, parts of Delmarva, potentially some snow, maybe southern Delaware. We'll wait and see. This is where I'm just not sure. And just a subtle shift is a big difference because it rapidly increases as far as how much snow we could get. But on the flip side, that's the American model. This here is the European model. Now, one thing that's getting locked in, same coloring in here, for the most part, right? Which means we're getting snow in North Carolina, but this is showing some different totals, right? It's showing most of the moisture, heaviest stuff offshore. It's saying, hey, maybe just some wraparound moisture, 6, 7, 8 inches of snow possibility. That is a big difference, though. Huge difference between 1.5 feet versus about 4 inches. Of course, it's going to be problematic nonetheless. Back through parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, watching southern Virginia. We'll keep an eye on parts of Delmarva, so we'll see. And again, some of that snow, here's a look at this again, the European model, which I would lean to at this point. Maybe a little bit more snow than it's showing in North Carolina. That's what Matt and I will be updating. But you see some of the snow, again, generally to the north and really east of Atlanta. And then some snow flurries, possibility, northern and central Florida, Saturday night into Sunday morning. And here's that fine line that we're going to be seeing. Hartford could be nothing. Meanwhile, Providence, about 7 inches of snow. But again, you get toward Providence, could have 7 inches just to the north. You get into extreme northern sections of Rhode Island, we may have just an inch. And you go to Providence, you're dealing with over half a foot. That gives you a good sample of just how fine of a line this is. So New Jersey, it is a wait and see at this point. We may get brushed by snow, but if this just nudges closer and if there's a bigger shift tomorrow, and again, the modeling will also do a better job once we get a handle on where we're seeing this system developing. That's why I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this definitely has our attention, right? Because any little shift will throw in a lot of snow and potentially across New Jersey, still keeping an eye on Philly, DC, Annapolis, Hartford, New Haven, watching across Long Island, but Long Island may be a scenario, get toward the Hamptons, that's where we have a bigger snow near Boston, not as much Vermont, maybe a little bit New Hampshire, and then of course watching Maine uncertain yet, southern sections of Maine, yeah, we could have that snow. We're going to be watching this across Maine and splitting the differences, watching the differences from central into northern sections, which may not be a lot. And then you see here we're about 20 to 30 centimeters of potential back through Nova Scotia, right in through Newfoundland, and the center of this may eventually pass over the Avalon Peninsula deeper into a Monday. So modeling really not too different. Again, different in some of the amounts, but as far as where the snow may go, it's starting to kind of zone in on some areas. We just need to see if some of this swings in a little bit more toward Delaware, New Jersey, parts of New York. We'll be watching that. That cold air surge, that is a concern because that cold air flat out super cold, especially as we work our way down toward Florida. But watching that cold air, how quickly it kind of moves in, the location where that low develops, a few miles making that difference. Either way, the huge coastal concern. So what we know some areas now that are going to get some snow, even the Cape and the Islands, and we know we're going to have big coastal concerns out of this. Just watching to see where this low may develop, and this may sound silly, but I think you get it. Where it snows, it is really going to snow. It's not just a fine line between snow and no snow at all, but where we're going to get the snow, we are going to get dumped on, and that's why this has our attention, and we'll be tracking it step by step. So Matt will have another update. He's working on some of the modeling behind the scenes based on what we are seeing. He'll have, I believe he'll have the next update. I will chat with him, and then we will go forward here on Snow Bros. So more updates to come as you're subscribed. You'll get those updates. I hope you have a good night ahead.